Yo, what's good guys, Bufkin over here. Hope y'all are doing well and had a great holiday. In today's video, we're jumping straight into a head-to-head showdown between Jean and Madelyne to find out who the true mutant villain really is. Can Jean hold on to her throne, or does her own clone actually end up taking her down? Let's find out. First things first, let's take a quick look at Jean's build. I capped out all the stats and I have 4 Flame Odins on her. On top of that, I have a 5-star artifact and a Mighty Rage CTP that we're going to be using in this video. So let's get straight into our testing. In Alliance Battle Extreme is where you're realistically going to be using her, specifically on the villain mutant restriction, but she does qualify for 3 other restrictions where there are obvious better options and alternatives. As for the cancels, she has all 3 of them, so she is pretty versatile for all the seasons. However, as for her rotation, for Alliance Battle at least, it's pretty much just spam. You do a slight delay on 3, so you wait until she dashes in, and also cancel 6 as it is absurdly long for Alliance Battle. For me personally, it has been working and it gives me the best results. However, you can look at other people play and might find a better optimized rotation out there. But yeah, the main issue with Jean is her second skill. It's extremely annoying. She moves pretty haphazardly and a lot of times it pulls her away from the Frost Beast, which actually can hurt your scores. So you definitely need to be cautious while using that skill. But yeah, as for her build, I'm running her with a Rage CTP here, while competition actually procs much better on Jean due to her lack of guaranteed crit rate in her kit. Rage has consistently performed better in Alliance Battle Extreme, which is why I went with it for this test. But yeah, let's just take a look at the rest of the run and see how it ends up. So we're coming up on the end of this run and it looks like we cleared 17 million pretty comfortably, but just fell short of 18 million. But still, it's a very solid score for my account, so I will absolutely take it. That puts the first scores on the board, concluding Jean's run, meaning we can now move on to Madelyne and take a look at her build. I kept it realistic as I have a hybrid build on her for now in terms of the Odins and Urus, as I have a lot of HP Urus on her. But yeah, I'm still going to be using her with the Mighty Rage, and I do plan on doing another run after this with a Mighty Greed. But yeah, that's it for now. Let's start with our Alliance Battle Extreme run. Similar to Jean, she qualifies for the same restrictions while showing great potential in the Mutant Villain restriction for a PvP character, hence why we are testing her out here today against Jean. She does have 2 cancels in her kit, however she does miss burn. For that, you have to use a tier 4 striker. As for the rotation I use on her, it's 1, 5, 2, 3, 4, and then you do 1 and 2, and then you get the tier 4 skill, and once you have the tier 4 skill, start your rotation with 7. So the rotation after you have the tier 4 and tier 3 skill is 6, 7, 1, 5, 2, 3, 4. But yeah, I've already made 2 videos on her, so if you want a bit more deep dive into her, be sure to check those out down below in the description. One of them is a PvP review and the other one is the best CTP for PvE. But the best part about her is that she loads up her tier 4 skill almost every rotation, so you can abuse Loki's tier 4 striker skill a lot, which is why she performs so well even with a PvP build. Now, Jean also does that, but her tier 3 skill has such a huge cooldown, which is why it becomes a bit inconsistent with her. Regardless, let's just take a look at the rest of the run and see how her score compares to Jean. We're near the end of Madelyne's run and she barely crosses 16 million. It's not really comparable to Jean's score, but it's still decent. With a more dedicated PvE build, she probably could have closed the gap, but that's not the direction we're taking right now. Instead, we're leaning further into the hybrid setup, swapping the Rage for a Greed to see if she is comparable with the PvP usable build, so let's get straight into the run. Now, from all my testing with her, I did recommend going with the Greed as it holds the best value overall in my opinion. It helps her hold her own in most PvP game modes, however it does negatively affect her survivability. A Conquest in that sense would be much better, but it does also make her much worse in the PvP game modes if you do plan on using her hybridly in both PvP and PvE. But one thing I would definitely suggest is to not use her with a PvE build, as you would be wasting a lot of her potential. The main reason she does perform pretty well with a PvP build is again because of her tier 4 striker, in this case Loki, who actually helps her boost her score to an insane margin. So yeah, I assume this run will be slightly worse than the prior run, so let's see how it plays out for ourselves. With the hybrid build, we crossed 15 million with ease, but ended up falling short of the 16 million mark, which we ended up crossing with the Rage CTP by the way. Still absurd for a Greed CTP. But with that, we conclude our testing. Let's take a final look at the scoreboards to see how the scores compared against each other. So Jean clearly stood out as the top performer, however Madelyne only scored about 8% lower with the Rage and roughly 11% lower with the Greed, which is honestly insane to say the least. That kind of performance is pretty much unheard of for a PvP focused character, especially when she is running a PvP oriented build. So yeah, to sum the video up and give a final verdict, Jean is still the better option for pure Alliance Battle Extreme performance. If you have her built already, you should absolutely stick with her for Alliance Battle Extreme. And if you are investing into Madelyne, focus on building her more towards PvP. That said, if you don't own Jean and you're deciding which deluxe pack to pick up or choosing between the two, Madelyne offers overall better value in my opinion. She can be used effectively in both PvP and PvE, and she can comfortably fulfill Jean's role in your roster while also bringing strong hybrid utility. In short, Jean wins on raw Alliance Battle Extreme power, but Madelyne wins on overall flexibility and account value. Anyways, that brings us to the end of this video. Feel free to let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If this video helped you out, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, take care and peace.